One of the biggest obstacles I hear when people are starting out investing in property is they just don't have enough cash. Well, in this short video, I'm going to share with you 9 ways you can start investing in property with no money or very little money. Hi, my name's Mark Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Property Master Academy and a property investor for over 16 years. One of the best ways of getting started in property investing with no money whatsoever is a joint venture arrangement, where you find a really good deal, you get an investor to invest in that deal with you, and you both get paid a share of the profit at the end. Very good way of getting started and no cash input from you. The second way is a variation on the joint venture, because you can't joint venture with everybody. There are certain rules and regulations surrounding that, but where you get other people's money, this time on a loan basis. So you're finding the deal, but they're going to actually lend you the money this time rather than taking part in the share of the profit. And for that, they get an interest rate in return. They'll get their money back when the deal is completed and sold. Third way, bridging finance. Now, bridging finance is often referred to as an expensive way of borrowing, usually by those that don't understand how it works. Yes, it is higher interest rates, and on average you're going to pay somewhere between 0.6 and 1.25% per month. That's not per annum, that's per month. So it may sound quite an expensive way. But there are a number of bridging companies who will lend against the value of the property. So for example, let's suppose you find a property that's valued at £110,000. But you manage to negotiate through your skill and knowledge to buy that property for £80,000. There are some bridging lenders, and not all of them I admit, but there are a few, who will lend against the value of that property somewhere between 75 and 80%. Now that means 80% of the £110,000 is greater than the £80,000 purchase price that you're actually paying. So again, an example of no money down. The next one, which has become really popular over the past 4 or 5 years, is crowdfunding. Now, what is crowdfunding? Well, crowdfunding matches developers with investors. Now, investors can invest in a crowdfunding platform either on a loan type basis or on an equity type basis, and sometimes a combination of the two. The crowdfunding platform will help secure that money against the project. Become a very, very popular way of investing now, and it's something that we created with our own crowdfunding platform at the end of 2020. Next we have vendor finance. Now let's suppose you're dealing with a vendor, they're selling their property, but they don't actually have a home for where that proceeds is going to go. It's just going to end up in their bank account. They could potentially help you finance that deal themselves. Again, another way of not putting in any money yourself into that deal. What about pensions? Do you have a pension? Well, if you do have a pension, you've got a pension fund sorted away somewhere, then that is potentially a way, again, of investing in property by releasing some of that pension money. And we've done it in a number of different ways. If it's invested through the pension fund, then that's generally going to be commercial property only. But there are also other ways of extracting that money from the pension to allow you to invest. Again, without using any of your own money. Now I'm going to talk about 3 strategies that require a little bit of money to get started. And the first one of those is rent to rent. What is rent to rent? Well, rent to rent is where you're renting a property and then re-renting it back out and making a margin in between. Now you will need some money to make this one work. Generally between 0 and £4,000 or £5,000 per property. But bearing in mind, you're going to make at least £500 to £600 per month per property, you can see that the payback is very quick. Now, what if you either did a joint venture or took some other people's money to help finance that in the first place? So it could be a no money down strategy. One step up from rent to rent is lease options. Here, you're agreeing to buy a property at a future date. We're agreeing the price now. This could also be done on a very similar basis. You'll have some legal costs, clearly, to make this one work, to get the relevant contracts drawn up. But again, what if you had a joint venture partner who paid for those legal costs? So Could be no money down or very little money down from your own perspective. And the last strategy, by far one of my most favourite, it's one of the very first strategies I did when I started investing in property, is property sourcing. It's very low startup costs. There are certain things you need to comply with for regulatory purposes, but outside of that, which will cost you around about £1,000 to £1,200, it's a marketing exercise. So if you're good at marketing, then you could be very good at sourcing. It's a very low startup scenario. But also something you could potentially also do on a joint venture basis with someone, where they help finance those initial costs for you. So really, there are no excuses when it comes to investing in property. I hope you found this short video useful. I'd love to see something in the comments. Tell me where you're at now. Tell me what your experience has been. Have you actually tried any of these strategies? I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please hit the subscribe button below and also the notification bell to ensure that you're notified as and when we upload further videos. There are also some videos appearing on your screen right now which will help you in your property journey.